No, I don't want to see it.
Well, I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that it had like an 80 something %, right?
Yeah, but you can't go buy Rotten Tomatoes.
Right, but fair enough.
Welcome to the Siren Cut. Here's our review for Pinocchio Unstrung, which we saw last night.
Late last
Late
night.
last night. It's one of the only showings, 10 o'clock.
I like Disney. So I know you came out of it kind of
Honestly, it was exactly what I expected. When we went over upcoming movies and the trailers, I had told you outright I have no interest in seeing this movie.
what surprised me is I remember you and our daughter making me watch the Winnie the Pooh one. You
The
guys
Blood
like
and
it.
Honey,
The Bloody
yeah.
Honey, right? Exactly. And so I thought, oh yeah, maybe you want to see this. But you know what? I forgot. I really like Disney, and so I didn't care for the Winnie the Pooh one, but I thought this looked a little interesting. And there was a little bit of more positivity online as far as the reviews and such. So I thought, hey, let's go. And you were dragging your feet. You dragging your feet. Well, do we really need to see this movie? I say yes.
Yeah, I mean, it helped that there wasn't a lot this weekend new to see, so you kind of got lucky there. Because up until just a few hours before we went to go see it, I told you no.
That's
You know,
right.
I was like, because you kept bringing it up, you kept hinting at, we can go see Pinocchio. I was like, no, I don't want to see it.
Well, I saw on Rotten Tomatoes that it had like an 80 something %, right?
Yeah, but you can't go buy Rotten Tomatoes.
Right, but fair enough. It wasn't. It still piqued my interest.
In the end, I think really what it comes down to is the movie is actually exactly what each of us expected. You actually went in thinking, "Hey, I might actually enjoy this," which you did. I went in knowing full well that I was not going to enjoy this, and that's kind of what happened. We have very different opinions about what we saw on screen and why or why not we liked it.
And I generally don't like horror movies at all. It's not my genre.
Yeah.
And I just think that I hate being scared. But in this case, I wasn't scared at all.
It wasn't really scary.
No, it wasn't scary at all. I think part of it
There's
has.
a lot of. I'm sorry. There's a lot of violence for
Right.
sure, but I wouldn't say that there was anything that most people would consider scary.
I think part of even with the violence and the story, it's very unrealistic.
Beyond that, I mean, for most movies, you have to, with the exception of majority of dramas, most movies you have to kind of accept that this isn't real life. It's not going to be realistic. That's major. Sci-fi, even action, horror. I mean, but that's kind of not the point. You can still be entertained by certain things, right? But it just, this movie, we're going to try our best not to give any spoilers or anything like that. So forgive us if it sounds like we're being a little vague. But it was, the writing was horrible. The sequence of events didn't make any sense. They just just slapped it in there. And it was like, well, look, That's it. Almost
There
felt
were a
that
few
way.
parts that were
That's
that
the
way.
majority of the movie.
No, it's not the
It is the
majority. No, it's
majority of
not.
the movie.
No, it's not.
I think you're stuck on the overall theme.
Maybe.
The wooden boy who wants to be a real boy, which is from the original theme of even the old movies. But yeah, and I don't have a problem with that. I kind of love when they try to do alternate takes on certain, like, tried and true films, but yeah, for me, this just did not work. It didn't make any sense. They don't bother explaining anything. They don't bother. It just, things happen and are what they are because they said so. And the acting and for pretty much all of them were pretty bad. There was some laughs, and I do like about the fact that they actually felt like intentional laughs. You know, sometimes these movies get too campy and
Too
there's
serious, too.
well, they're accidentally
Mm-hmm.
funny. This one, you could tell that the laughs were set up to be funny. So, and there was, and we heard people laughing at various
Mm-hmm.
parts throughout the film, and even I found myself chuckling at a couple of the, just because of the ridiculousness of everything that's going on.
It was ridiculous, and yes, the writing was subpar, but
Shitty, not subpar. It was shitty. It was just so bad.
and it was a little gory, sure,
Yes, but
but that's to be expected.
I don't know. I find it weird. I find it different than other movies that are, you know, like the ones that fall under the torture porn, you know, Hostel and stuff like
Okay,
that.
those
But
actually.
those can get very gory at times.
Mm-hmm.
But it feels different as far as like it feels a part of the world. There's a reason, not a good reason, is at least for the characters in the movie. Not a good reason, but at least it makes sense of what you're watching and why you're watching and why you want it to stop. You know, but movies like this, like Pinocchio, it's like they just throw shit out there, no rhyme or reason. It's just violence for violence sake, you know, just so they could show some really silly ass kills. Really was really what they were. Most of them were pretty silly. Silly in concept, silly in execution, silly
I thought it
in,
was fun.
and that's great. That's great.
I thought
It's
it was
like we don't
fun.
have to agree on everything.
And like and usually you have to drag me out for a horror movie, and in this case it was the other way around.
I
It's
don't
kind of
know.
weird.
I like horror movies, but I almost don't want to call this a horror movie. It's a new genre called stupid ass movies.
I didn't think it
It's
was
just,
stupid. It
I
was
don't know.
it was
You know, and I
just
can understand.
I
I
didn't
can
take it
understand.
seriously.
Some people go to movies and they just want to be entertained, and not everything has to be art. I get that. And I am not surprised if some people do like this movie. You know, there's tons of movies that are highly rated that I can't stand, you know. So, and there's movies that everyone's told you, oh, you should watch it. This is a great movie.
Oh,
And
for
you
sure.
left going, meh, you know. So, I mean, that happens. I think it happens with all of us. But I wasn't, so this didn't make me mad the way her
Her
private
private
hell
hell.
did. So I think that still holds the title for worst movie this year so far. But yeah, it's like I knew it was gonna be bad. I knew I wasn't gonna like it, and then watching it, I was like, okay. Especially when it got funny, I was like, okay, maybe this might not be too bad. No, I should have trusted my first instinct.
Well, I think if you don't take it seriously and you just take it for what it is, it was fun for me. It was enjoyable. I mean,
Well, that's because how did I explain it to you? Because you've gone most of your life not liking horror movies. You tend to stay away from them. And now, because we're doing this review channel, you've been watching a lot more of them. So you're kind of like a baby horror fan right now. So a lot of the stuff, like when I was 12, I was super like, oh, that was so cool, or something like that. You're experiencing that phase now, right? Because this is all new to you, you know?
yeah, okay.
You know,
But
so
you know what we were talking about earlier was we said that it's funny how you watch movies back in the day and then years later your opinions change in that sense. So
definitely.
well, I wonder what my opinion will be 5 years from now.
It's primarily the reason why sometimes I actually seem to refuse to watch 20-plus-year-old movies that I know I loved, because I'm afraid that if I rewatch it, it's going to ruin my memory of it. And I remember that movie as being special as a kid. And if I watch it now, it's basically going to destroy that memory. So I try to stay away from rewatching old stuff.
Well, it's like trying to recreate an emotion, a memory, and
Right.
so forth, and it's never the same the second time.
Of course, you
Yeah.
can only have a first experience once, right? So it's much different.
What's your grade?
Oh yeah, grades.
Yeah.
It's not a surprise. I would give this a solid, well-earned D.
Okay.
D.
And because horror isn't generally not my thing, however, I enjoyed it. The acting was bad. Some things were a bit questionable. A solid C.
You left entertained.
I was entertained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You laughed at all the appropriate parts. You kind of followed along, and how at times I had a hard time staying awake. It was just like,
But you woke up. I didn't miss anything.
yeah, I didn't miss any. Well, I felt like that. It's like I could tell I dozed in the theater because I realized I missed the end of the actor's sentence, and then so I just continued watching, and I realized, oh, okay, I understand everything that's going on. I didn't miss anything. That's how. Okay, yeah, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but that's just how bad the story was. There was no rhyme or reason. Not even like realistic sense. I mean, you have to have rhyme or reason and some sense within the world, that you've created in this movie, and it didn't do that. It just treated everything like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Let's throw it out there anyways. But yeah. So let us know what you thought. If you saw the movie, did you love it like Ren here?
I wouldn't
Or
say love.
did you were you highly disappointed like I was? Do you even plan to see it? Let us know. Like, subscribe. Let us know what you think.
And thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks.